There is nothing wrong with the video. Do not attempt to adjust your internet settings. We are controlling the transmission. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Top 10 Toons, where we count down the top 10 cartoons of a variety of subjects involving all your favorite cartoons. New, old, it doesn't matter. You are about to enter a space where you'll be able to open your eyes to the changes in our world and our timeline. This is the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect, a name given to the results of quote-unquote false memories shared by masses of people. Such large numbers of people remember things with such specific details exactly the same as one another, but those memories are different from what reality shows. This causes people to wonder, has our reality actually changed? Did something cause our world's timeline to transform so things are altered in such small ways that most of us don't even realize it? Has something affected our reality, leaving a residue in our minds about a past life that no longer exists? There are hundreds of examples of the Mandela effect, from historical events to pop culture to names and designs being just a little off. Today we dive into the unknown as we take a look at how cartoons have been affected by this strange phenomenon. This list will be different from our other videos. Instead of naming off specific examples per entry, we have decided to group ones with similar types of changes together, and those that are unique as standalone entries. Now, for the next few minutes, we will control what you see and hear. We will open your eyes to the unknown and take a look outside our universe as we examine our own reality. Join me, and you might find the truth. This is the Top 10 Toon Mandela Effects. Number 10.
Oh, it's the sword in the stone!
The sword in the stone? It can't be.
But look, it is!
The Sword in the Stone is a Disney classic. It's the age-old tale of King Arthur's rise to power, with that kooky magic Disney twist. We all know the story by now. A young boy destined to rule Camelot is trained by Merlin the magician and is one day chosen to be the new king after he was the only one to pull the mystic sword from a stone and fulfill the prophecy. But wait, was it actually a stone that the sword was wedged into? Think it over carefully. What do you remember the sword being jammed in the movie? If you remember a large gray stone, you are not alone. It is called the sword in the stone for a reason after all. What else could it possibly be? That's right. The sword was pulled out of an anvil, not from the stone itself. Many people remember Arthur stepping onto the stone and pulling the sword from it. No anvil. In fact, the anvil itself looks out of place to those who remember it differently. So, was the sword always meant to be placed in an anvil, or do you remember it differently? Has our timeline changed, or is this just our memory blurred by artists' interpretations over the years? Or perhaps, has Disney's version been altered and the rest of media been spared the same fate?
The sword in the stone.
Number 9. One of the best Halloween specials in cartoons. The beloved tale of Charlie Brown's Halloween escapades is fondly remembered by those who have watched it growing up. Charlie Brown and friends are trick-or-treating with their memorable costumes and getting great candies along the way. Well, mostly.
I got 5 pieces of candy. I got a chocolate bar. I got a quarter. I got a rock.
All except for Charlie Brown's best friend Linus, who drags Sally along with him to meet the Great Pumpkin on Halloween night to prove to everyone that the mysterious creature is real. After hours of waiting, a shadow figure rises from the patch.
There he is! There he is! It's the Great Pumpkin! He's rising up out of the pumpkin patch!
Linus, filled with disbelief, faints and Sally leaves more frustrated than ever after seeing Snoopy and not the Great Pumpkin. Linus stays the night in hopes of seeing the real Great Pumpkin.
Oh, Great Pumpkin, where are you?
Lucy finds him the next morning, still in the patch, and brings him home. The end. There is no Great Pumpkin. Thanks for playing. But wait, does that seem right to you? Or do you remember things going differently? Well, if you're like many others, you may recall that there was a Great Pumpkin after all, but Linus misses it as he falls asleep when it finally arrives at the patch. This is a moment in the special that people swear by. Memories of that scene are so vivid for them that they cannot accept the fact that the Great Pumpkin never showed up once. But what do you remember? Are you like Linus and are a firm believer that the Great Pumpkin visits pumpkin patches at night? Or is it just his fantasy? Number 8.
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob is one of the most popular cartoons of all time. Being on the air for over 20 years and counting, this show has some of the most memorable and memeable moments of animation. However, there are two moments that fans have been hotly debating for years. The first concerns a certain secret box. In one episode, Patrick spends the day peeking inside a box and is having the time of his life. Curious, SpongeBob asks to see what's inside, but Patrick refuses to show it to anyone. It's his secret box.
You never told me about your secret box.
Hey, hands off, Peepin' Bob. This here's my secret box.
At the end, the real secret is unveiled. An embarrassing photo of SpongeBob from the Christmas party. The episode ends with Patrick laughing hysterically, leaving us all to wonder what the photo actually looks like.
Merry Christmas, SpongeBob!
Or does it? Many people remember seeing the photo in question and are baffled that it's missing at the end. Fans can recall exact details of the photo and can describe how it looks. So, did Nickelodeon remove the photo, or was there never a photo to be seen? There have been many photographs taken of SpongeBob over the years. Even the Christmas special that the photo was supposedly taken on has its own moment where SpongeBob had an embarrassing photo taken. Could any of these be the photo, or was there a completely different one just for the secret box? Now let's look at the SpongeBob movie. Watch this iconic scene and tell me if anything looks off to you. Did you see anything wrong? Well, if you're like many viewers, the guitar that SpongeBob rocks off to looks completely different. The guitar, as it appears now, is shaped like a peanut to represent the goofy goober in us all. But according to fans, they remember the guitar being a traditional inverted V shape. This peanut guitar doesn't match in the slightest to their memories. How do you recall these memorable scenes? Do they match up with what you remember, or is this a different reality than before?
If only you could see inside my secret box, it would change your life.
Number 7. One of the more common Mandela effects involve altered names or spelling of names, so let's take a moment to look at some of the bigger cartoon name changes. First up is the oldest of the bunch, the Flintstones. Premiering in the 1960s, the Flintstones is just a tale about a modern Stone Age family. Their name, however, is still hotly debated today. Let's pause for a second. Now, out loud, spell Flintstones. Ready? Let's take a look at the spelling. If you're like many others out there, then you probably missed the first T in the title. Was that T always there, or was it altered? Well, the actual stone that they're named after was always spelled that way, Flint. Is this a case of misspelling on our part, or not? Next up is another oldie but goodie, Johnny Quest. How do you spell the name of our young protagonist and show? Take a moment and spell it out. If you included an H anywhere in there, you are wrong. Although there is usually an H before or after the O in Johnny as a name, this show never had one. How do some of our older Toon Squad members remember the spelling of this show? Speaking of old, let's take a look at one of the biggest cartoons of all time, the Looney Tunes. This one should be pretty easy, right? Let's spell it out. If you spell tunes like cartoons or top 10 tunes, subscribe now. You are thinking the wrong kind of tune. That's right, it's tune as in music. The reason behind this is that old cartoons used to be made up of musical performances with cartoons added to move along to the music. In fact, the Looney Tunes are part of a series called Merry Melodies. Makes sense, huh? Some 90s kids may have also remembered it as Toons because we grew up with Tiny Toons, which actually spelled it like cartoon. Is this how you remember Looney Tunes being spelled, or are you in disbelief? Last one for this entry, and the most famous of them all, the Berenstain Bears. Or should I say, the Berenstain Bears.
Sometime you'll find they might be just plain funny. The Berenstain Bears. The Berenstain Bears.
Although originally a cartoon book series for decades, the Berenstain Bears did have two different cartoon shows, one in the 80s and one in the 2000s, so two generations of viewers got a chance to be impacted by this revelation. One of the most widely believed Mandela effects. The Berenstain Bears will forever be, and have always been, the Berenstain Bears for most fans. So, did any of these names blow your mind? Do you feel like you're in an alternate reality, or is everything as you remember?
You may think that this starts our show. Well, it does!
Number 6. Lyrics are one of the most common forms of Mandela effects. The words to some of your favorite songs may have changed slightly and now they just don't sound right. For example, do you remember the amazing song Part of Your World from Disney's The Little Mermaid? The Little Mermaid had a couple of timeless songs in their feature film, and Part of Your World is no different. Except maybe that something changed, just a bit. Take a listen and see if you can spot anything that's off.
Wandering free, wish I could be part of that world.
Did you hear it? Let's hear it again.
Part of that world.
You may be thinking, that's impossible. You remember hearing your and not that. That is the name of the song after all. Well, you may be right. In the reprise near the end of the movie, Ariel sings the song again, but this time it's How You May Remember.
Part of your world.
It makes sense that she doesn't say your in the first rendition because she isn't speaking to them directly as she does in the second. But the first scene is the one that people remember most, and that is where they learn the lyrics to the song. Either way, hearing Ariel sing That World just doesn't sit well with many fans.
Part of that world.
Let's continue with Disney and take a look at another song of theirs.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
The Bare Necessities is one of the most recognized Disney songs and easily the most popular in the Jungle Book. Despite this, there is one lyric that's been debated by fans as being part of the Mandela effect. Let's listen.
Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be found of my big home.
Did you hear fonder of my big home or found of my big home? Let's listen again.
Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be found of my big home.
This one is pretty unique. According to official sources, including the VHS series Disney Sing-Along Songs, the actual lyrics are fonder.
I couldn't be found of my big home.
This is actually what most people remember, but hearing the song, fans say the actual recording has changed, but not the lyrics. If you listen in, it sounds like found.
I couldn't be found of my big home.
Fans say that it clearly sounded like fonder, but now it sounds more like found. Many of us learned this song as kids, so singing along with a pretty unfamiliar word such as fonder instead of the much more common word found means that perhaps it did used to sound exactly as it should. Finally, let's take a look at one last entry that may surprise you as being on this list.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine?
Although Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood is definitely not a cartoon, I included it for one simple reason. The lyrics we will talk about today is also in the spin-off cartoon Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. Now let's listen to the theme and tell me if you can spot the Mandela effect.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine?
That's right. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, not the neighborhood. This small difference has caused this song to become one of the most widely recognized Mandela effects. Now let's listen to the version from Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor.
Yep, you heard right. It's the again. A mistake, or is this evidence that the song has always been the neighborhood? After all, how could the official spin-off not know their own lyrics? Which lyrics do you remember from these songs? Are they still the same? Is your reality still intact?
Yeah, with just the bare necessities of life.
Number 5. Now that we're halfway through the list and I'm taking a look at several examples of the Mandela effect, let's talk about a special case in the Mandela effect phenomenon, The Simpsons. The Simpsons is the longest running animated show in history, and as such, they have pretty much done it all, including making pop culture references that have been the subject of many Mandela effects. But here's the kicker. The Simpsons seem to be immune to the changes, as their parodies showcase the memories we all remember, but the reality shows differently. There are dozens of examples in the show, but we will quickly go over just a few of them to get the idea across. In The Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West says this line,
I want those most of all. Now fly! Fly!
but most people remember her line being a bit different.
Fly, my pretties, fly!
Fly, my pretties, fly! Instead of now fly, fly! Which do you remember? Speaking of movie quotes, let's look at one from Forrest Gump.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates.
Now let's compare that to what The Simpsons show and what most people remember.
Well, life is like a box of chocolates.
Mom,
You
no,
never
Mom.
know.
Life is, not life was. False memories or not. And now one from Crocodile Dundee.
He's got a knife.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Compare that to the parody from The Simpsons.
You call that a knife? This is a knife.
That's not a knife, that's a spoon.
Was it that's a knife? Or is it this is a knife? How do you remember this scene? Can't do movie quotes without mentioning the biggest of them all, Darth Vader.
He told me you killed him. No. I am your father.
Does that sound right? Let's look at The Simpsons now.
Luke, I am your father. Luke, I am your father.
Luke, I am your father. No, I am your father. Which line is the one you remember? Since we are on the topic of Star Wars, let's take a look at C-3PO.
Where do you think you're going? Well, I'm not going that way. It's much too rocky.
Do you notice anything different about him? Let's compare him to the version in The Simpsons.
Plus, tag team robot wrestling. It's the mighty robots of Battlestar Galactica versus the gay robots of Star Wars.
Yep, he has a silver leg. Does that seem right to you, or was he always fully gold? Now, one of the biggest musical Mandela effects, the ending to We Are the Champions by Queen. Let's listen to the real ending. Now let's see Homer take a crack at the song.
No time for losers, 'cause I am the champion of the world.
The song doesn't end with a loud "of the world." Does that feel right to you? How should this song end? Now, a historical Mandela effect. Let's start with The Simpsons first. Take a look at Homer's representation of King Henry VIII.
I'm Henry VIII, I am. Henry VIII, I am. My name's synonymous with gluttony. I'll always eat a turkey or a ham.
See that chicken leg that King Henry is known for? Well, let's take a look at his famous portrait showing that exact chicken leg. Nope, no chicken to be found. There never was. Or was there? Is The Simpsons a window that reveals the changes in our past? Or did they subconsciously influence our own memories through their impact in our subculture? You decide. Number 4. Character design is one of the biggest aspects of animation. Despite having some of the most memorable designs in history, some cartoons have appeared to change from what many longtime fans remember. Let's take a look at a few examples. There have been many versions of Shaggy over the decades, but there is one feature that is missing that fans swear by: a big Adam's apple on Shaggy's throat. Many thin and lanky male cartoon characters have a big Adam's apple in their design, and according to many viewers, Shaggy did as well. However, none of his designs show it. Another oldie, let's look at Mighty Mouse. Does his superhero outfit look a little empty to you? Well, many old school cartoon fans claim that Mighty Mouse used to have a big M in the middle of his chest, similar to how Superman has the S-shaped symbol. This cartoon may be a bit old, but is that the cause of this memory being different from our own reality? Moving ahead a few years, let's look at Disney's Alice in Wonderland. Many fans have stated that they remember Alice having black striped stockings, not plain white. That's not the only design Mandela effect in this movie, as Tweedledee and Tweedledum also have changed in their design. Can you guess how? Well, many fans say that the flags in their hats were not flags at all, but propellers, a common child trope in old cartoon designs. So, did Alice in Wonderland get hit by an altered reality not once but twice? Moving forward once again, let's look at Carmen Sandiego. This thief has been in countless computer games and several shows. She has a very iconic look that some fans have debated over the years. Some people remember her having a yellow coat and hat instead of red. Could this be because several other female protagonists have donned yellow jumpsuits over the years? Or even because Carmen Sandiego wears yellow underneath the red coat? What color do you remember? Now let's look at Dora the Explorer, or more accurately, Benny the Bull. Many fans swear that Benny used to have a gold nose ring in the show. Many think that Nick Jr. changed the look because it wasn't very appropriate for young audiences to see piercings, but it seems that he never had a nose ring to begin with. Nose rings are a common look for bulls in cartoons, so is this Mandela effect caused by influences by other cartoon portrayals of bulls, or did Benny really have a ring on his nose? Let's end this entry with the most famous cartoon character of all time, Mickey Mouse. He has been around forever and has become a pop culture icon. So, how has the Mandela effect affected him? Well, many fans remember Mickey having suspenders on his shorts or wearing red overalls. Many fans swear that he always had that look in the older cartoons. Well, there is evidence that Mickey did in fact wear suspenders and several shorts, but this was never his main look. It was used in shorts where Mickey would work on projects. So, are people remembering the same look but misremembering it as his main appearance? Or do these shorts actually prove that he did used to wear suspenders? That isn't the only change in his look, according to fans. Despite being a mouse, many fans also say that Mickey doesn't have a tail. Mickey does have a tail in this reality, but was it always this way? We'll explore more on this topic in the next entry.
Hey, we're here!
Number 3. Tails are such cool appendages. They can show emotion, and some animals can even use them to lift their bodies into the air or hang from them. Like monkeys, they have cool tails. For example, look at Curious George. This monkey uses his tail all the time to swing around and cause trouble in his own lovable way. Or does he? In fact, Curious George has no tail. Yep, despite being called a monkey several times in every iteration of the character, George does not have a tail. This is one big Mandela effect that has baffled fans of the books and shows. Supposedly, his tail is a big part of who Curious George is. But alas, no tail in sight. A case of false memories, or did this character get hit hard by changing timelines? Another tale up for debate is Snoopy's. Snoopy has been around for decades, but don't worry, this pup definitely has a tail. But the color of that tail is the subject for this controversy. Black or white? What color is his tail? The answer is a bit tricky. Snoopy has a white tail with a black spot, but it is hard to see the spot sometimes, causing people to remember it as plain white. While on the other end of the spectrum, many other fans remember him having a black tail. Speaking of black tails, Pikachu from the Pokemon series has one of the most debated tails in animation. Pikachu, as of now, has a plain yellow tail in the shape of a lightning bolt with a brown patch at the bottom. Very iconic. Despite this recognizable design, Pikachu's tail is the center of a Mandela effect. Many fans claim that Pikachu used to have a black mark at the tip of his tail. Neither in the games nor in the massive number of shows has Pikachu had this mark. This is unbelievable to many fans, and it can be seen why. Pikachu does have black tips on his ears, so perhaps the tail had a similar feature. Or perhaps that is what caused this false memory. Also, Pikachu has two other forms, a pre-evolved form and an evolution. Both of these forms have black on their tails, with the pre-evolved form of Pichu having a plain black tail. So how does it make sense that the middle evolved form has no black at all while the other two do? We may never know. Number 2. Tinkerbell has become an icon in the animated world. Her role in the Peter Pan movies may have been small, but her legacy lived on in her appearances in so many depictions of Disney content. From the pixie dust she scatters across Cinderella's castle to the DVD openings in every disc, Tinkerbell is everywhere. Or is she? Many longtime Disney fans recall Tinkerbell being a prominent figure in the classic Disney logo opening with the famous castle and blue backdrop. They say that Tink would fly over the castle as a spark, with pixie dust scattering across under her before flying in front of the logo and using her wand, tap the I in Disney with a spark of pixie dust. Another version claims that she would spell out the word Disney with her wand before tapping the I. There have been many variations of the Disney logo over the years, and Tinkerbell has appeared in a small number of them, but those two particular openings seem to not exist, nor have they ever existed. Could those openings have disappeared through changes in our reality, or have fans misremembered this opening by clouding their memory with other Tinkerbell related logos? Here are the 3 most related logos I could find that fit this memory. The first has Tinkerbell flying in front of the castle and uses her wand to tap the screen and create explosions of colors. Nothing with the word Disney or the blue logo. The next does have Tinkerbell with a castle and dotting the I in Disney with a flash of pixie dust. However, it is not the famous blue opening that fans swear by. The next logo does involve the blue opening, but Tinkerbell does not fly over the castle, spell out the word, or dot the I specifically. Could this memory be caused by fusing all these openings together, or had the logo disappeared into another reality? Number 1. One of the biggest Mandela effects in not only cartoons but the entirety of Mandela effects. Let's look at Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. This effect occurs almost immediately at the start of the movie. The evil queen calls upon her magic mirror, speaking those iconic words.
Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
Wait, can you repeat that?
Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
Magic mirror on the wall? Not mirror mirror on the wall? Yep, that's the line. This one has blown the minds of so many fans of the movie. That line has gone down in history as one of the most memorable quotes in the history of media. but despite its recognition, it is always misquoted. How can this be? A line so memorable such as this being misremembered by literally every reference out there? It doesn't seem plausible. And that is what the Mandela effect is all about.
Now, begin thy magic spell.
Oh, and it's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Not dwarves. That's not even a real word. Bye, everybody! So, are you a believer? Did any of these Mandela effects catch you off guard? Leave a comment below about how you feel about these Mandela effects and any other ones you may remember yourself. If you enjoyed the list, hop aboard the Toon Squad by subscribing today. And stick around to catch the next episode as soon as it airs. Top 10 anime openings to Western cartoons. Leave your suggestion for this list in the comments below. This can be either openings made in Japanese studios for Western cartoons, or completely different openings made in Japan for existing Western cartoons. Official openings only, not fan-made. Sorry, SpongeBob. Come back next time to see if your suggestion made it onto the list and to check out all the other awesome openings. No runner-ups this episode, so I'm signing off. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.